Forget everything you thought you knew about precious metals. In the robot-haunted wasteland of the 2030s, wealth doesn't shine, it conducts. After the collapse, gold will still glitter, silver will still gleam, but copper works. It hums, it flows, it carries the lifeblood of electricity through the bones of every machine. When AI finally pulls the plug on human civilization, the gold bars in your safe won't power a salvage drone or patch the circuitry in a defense turret, but a coil of raw copper wire, that could be worth a week's rations. Hello, fellow mutants. We're looking at one of the most counterintuitive truths of a machine-run apocalypse. The idea that copper, not gold or silver, may be the true king of metals. This isn't personal preference. It's what history, industry, and hard survival logic all suggest. In the old economy, copper was an afterthought, a base metal with its price measured in pocket change, a novelty on the bullion sites. Gold was for vaults, silver for coins, copper for pennies. But history shows us that in times of war or crisis, that order flips. During both world wars, copper was so essential for communications, munitions, and power that civilian use was restricted. The United States even made steel pennies in 1943 to free up copper for the military. During the electrification boom, copper prices surged and sometimes rivaled silver in relative value because it was the bottleneck for progress. In a post-collapse world where surviving machines, power systems, and those are scarce, the metal that keeps them alive becomes more valuable than the metal that looks good in a vault. That's copper. Picture the marketplace of 2037. A trader offers you a pouch of silver coins, beautiful, heavy, but useless for fixing your broken generator. Another trader offers you a bundle of stripped copper wire, ugly, tangled, but enough to rewind your alternator and keep your shelter lit. Which one buys you more time? Silver might get you a battery or two. Gold might buy you safe passage for a day. But copper gets you the wire to rebuild a signal booster, the bus bar to wake an old power cell, the winding that turns scrap into an EMP coil. In a functioning barter economy, metals naturally fall into tiers. Gold for high value, concentrated wealth, silver for merchant-level trade, and copper for everyday working-class exchange, the functional currency that keeps daily life running. Forget shiny proof rounds and capsules. Your future stack is heavy, dirty, and pulled straight from the guts of dead machines. Old transformers, motor housings, salvaged bus bars. Every scrap goes into your stash because sooner or later you'll need it, or someone will need it from you badly enough to trade for food, fuel, or protection. And yes, copper rounds still have their place. They're uniform, portable, and easier to carry into a deal than a 20-pound spool of wire. Think of them as your small change in a barter system where every piece of metal has a job to do. Some of you might be wondering, if copper is everywhere in old machines and buildings, why bother stacking clean copper bullion at all? The answer is portability and certainty. Scrap copper from motors or pipes is bulky and often mixed with other metals. It takes time to strip, clean, and weigh before anyone will trade for it. Worse, much of what looks like copper is actually an alloy that can release toxic compounds when melted, like brass or bronze. A 1-ounce copper round, on the other hand, is pure, uniform, and instantly recognizable in value. In the heat of a barter deal, there's no argument over purity or weight. You hand over a known quantity and walk away with what you need. Scrap still has its place, but bullion is the best portable, reliable form of copper wealth in the post-apocalypse world. If you can afford to have some on hand, I recommend it. Copper isn't just currency, though. It's a toolkit. For example, power transmission, You can rewire an old generator to keep your shelter lit. With motors and coils, you can build a crude pump to move water from a distant source. For water purification, copper's antimicrobial properties can make a vessel safer for storage. For EMP devices, in the right hands, copper windings can turn stored energy into a burst strong enough to disable sensors or a patrol drone. Perhaps that's more in the realm of science fiction, but you never know. Heat transfer. Salvaged copper tubing can turn a fire's heat into usable energy for cooking and distilling. Unlike gold or silver, these uses don't rely on an intact economy or refinery. They rely on your skill and your willingness to get your hands dirty. Here's a simple breakdown, at least how I see it for copper versus the other metals you're told to stash, first and foremost by most preppers. Gold is high-value, large trade transactions. Concentrated wealth in small volume is its main strength. And its weakness is it's not directly useful in most survival tasks. Silver is your medium-value daily trade. It's recognized across cultures, which is its main strength, and its weakness is it's less industrial in its use than copper. Copper's role in trade is the low to mid-value functional currency. Its direct utilities in power, repair, and survival gear. And its weakness is that it is bulkier per unit value. So, in other words, to get the same amount of value for a trade, you would have to have a lot more copper. There are other potential contenders, and here's why I think they fall short. Aluminum. It's useful, lightweight, and everywhere. But it's a bit too common. Its value would plummet quickly. Steel. Essential for tools and defense, but it's a bit too heavy and abundant to serve as a portable trade currency. Lead. There's a high demand for lead in ammo, but it's toxic and it's not a broad industrial conductor like copper. There are also rare earths that could be very useful in a post-collapse AI robot apocalypse. It's critical for high tech, but it'd be very difficult for average scavengers to identify, extract, and trade. Titanium is my favorite cool alternate currency, if you can get some to show off, because a titanium round will survive just about anything and doesn't tarnish like precious metals. It's also extremely lightweight and portable. That said, the way the coins are made is complex. That, along with its toughness, is exactly the reason why it's not very useful as a post-collapse survival metal beyond being a novel currency, because you can't easily repurpose it. There's a darker side to this value shift. You won't be the only one hunting copper. The AI war machines scavenging the waste will strip it from cars, buildings, and even abandoned settlements to repair themselves. And if it's not AI war machines, it will be other scavengers, potentially armed. They'll all understand its value, and they'll kill to get it. That means your copper stash isn't just treasure, it's a target. Keep it hidden, move it often, never trade from your main supply. If you're preparing now, I recommend you stack copper in two forms. Industrial salvage, wire, bus bars, motor cores, tubing, AC coils. And portable bullion, rounds, bars, small ingots for quick trade. The bullion would be your day-to-day barter. The salvage will be your long game, the material that rebuilds machines, powers defenses, and buys you alliances. The bullion will also help you in a pinch because you can reform it, as I've shown in my own videos. Check out my demonstration, for example, on a charcoal grill. The irony is clear. In the old world, copper was the humble cousin of gold and silver, practical but never precious. In the new world, it's the one metal that keeps the lights on, the water moving, and the machines humming. So keep stacking your copper, not just as a hedge and not as an investment to make money, but as a lifeline. Because when the bots rule, the orange metal isn't just currency, it's control. Now, as the copper glow of sunset falls across the battered horizon, remember this. History's most valuable metals were never chosen by kings or markets alone. They were chosen by the needs of survival. And in the age to come, those needs will speak louder than gold. That's all I have got for today, fellow mutants. Until next time, keep your wires dry, your circuits tight, and your bullion stash close. It's Copper Mutant, signing out.